Clayton, I'm ready. You ready? Let's
Yes, I'm
go.
ready. I'm ready.
But I see it in you, so we're gonna walk it out. Ooh, mountain, we're gonna walk it out. Ooh, mountain, we're gonna walk it out. And don't rise up. I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up. I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up. And I'll do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up. High like the waves. I'll rise up. In spite of the ache. I'll rise up. And I'll do.
Good day, everyone. We have a special guest like always. Um, this guy I met overseas, just like this, through a course, and this course was named was a Forex course, and this course was named IGlobalFx, right? And I was introduced to this course into Forex. And this is actually my coach, the head coach of IGlobalFx. He also has, like you say, he have many hats towards his portfolio as a person or as a coach. So I'm very grateful to have Coach Brian on the school. We would have loved actually to meet in person because he's in Cape Town
Yes.
at the moment. But during lockdown restrictions, we decided to kick it off with a Zoom call. But yes, this guy, I won't say this man has a lot of wisdom. The way I see life in general, it's not your normal type of human being who will see life,
No.
you know, in the perspective of the way I see it. So I'm very grateful to have him on the call. He's a very busy man. So yes, Coach Brian, just you can say something, about
Absolutely.
yourself. So yeah,
Well, hey, man, I am excited to get on this call. As Coach Clayton was mentioning, we've met online, which is crazy. Met over a year and some change ago. And I'm actually live in Cape Town, Blowerstrand. Hopefully I pronounced it correctly. I'm working on my Afrikaans. But I've just been amazed at the growth of this young man in the leadership. And we talked about doing a podcast, and I said, man, absolutely, man. You give me a day, we'll make it happen. Shout out to my mother as well. Happy birthday, Mama, if you ever see this online. It's your birthday.
happy birthday.
Happy birthday to your mom.
Happy
That's a
birthday
good-
to Mom. She getting up there, man. I'm excited, man. One, yes, we're in level 4 lockdown physically, but mentally, there's no lockdown.
Come on now.
Come
There's
on.
no lockdown. Literally, my mind feels like there's no COVID. None. I'm reading, I'm planning, I'm talking, I'm operating, I'm traveling, I'm making plans for the future. I have no mental lockdown at all. And so just a little bit about myself. My journey started with entrepreneurship. I'm a life coach, a business coach, professional speaker, a day trader, husband, dad, and many other different hats. But if I had to simplify them, I would say that I'm just a man that found purpose, and I live my life on purpose. That's it. I'm not special. I wasn't born with money. Yes, I'm from the United States, but I came into a family, and if you looked at my background, I'm not supposed to be doing what I'm doing. I wasn't set up that way. I was born across the tracks, so I wasn't on the right side of the tracks to do what I'm doing. I believe that God equips us with purpose and will, and He gives us gifts and talents, but in those, we have to develop them.
Sure.
And so hopefully through this conversation, just a little bit about myself. I started at the age of 14 in entrepreneurship. It was me riding my bicycle with a friend of mine to rich neighborhoods, and we would wash their car outside and inside. And I would take that money and give half to my mother. And I realized at the age of 14 that I needed to make my own money. It was the greatest feeling I had in my life. In high school, I found out that I had the gift of gab. I didn't know what that was. I wanted to be an athlete. I wanted to be able to play basketball, what we do in the States, and throw football. And because the girls didn't want a comedian, they wanted the athletes. And I could play a little bit. I wasn't amazing, but I had a way of connecting with people through, communication and conversation. And lo and behold, that gift that was laying dormant, when I realized how powerful it was, is the very thing that has taken me around the world. So just a little bit about myself.
Oh, that's powerful.
That's
You remind
powerful.
me of. Oh, you want to say something, Ross?
Yeah. No, you can go. I'll go after you. It's fine. It's fine. You speak first, Clayton.
Yeah, I think Coach Brian just touched on something about your gift, man.
Yeah.
And the last month or two, the word growth was on my mind and on my lips, and whatever conversation I have, it's the word growth. And I believe with Coach's life, I think growth happened, man. Growth can only take place once you want it. Growth can never take place if you just sit on the couch and just waiting for opportunity to come along your way. And I think with IGlobalFx, once I started there, I wanted to grow in the Forex market. How do the markets work? As just one example of growth that can take place in your life.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Ross, what do you want to say?
Like you mentioned now, right? Growth has to take place in your life, right? And I saw that instant shift in your life, Clayton.
Yeah.
When you jumped on the IGlobalFx and then Coach Brian was mentoring you, I could see the shift in your mindset. Like me and Clayton, we don't know each other very long,
Yeah.
but
That's true.
I could see the growth. And also, like Coach Brian, it's not the first time I met you. I met you on a call
Remember.
as well.
I remember the face.
And I remember it was one of the introduction classes for IGlobalFx. And also, what I can acknowledge is the controlling of the room when you step in. I must acknowledge that because I remember you spoke to the kids of Fairmont. Fairmont Harbour,
regarding
the success in color.
Yeah.
Yes, and you are on the other side of the world. That time you are in America. And to control the room the way you did with kids of the age of 17 and 18, it was amazing. And you're on the other side of a call. I'm like, there's grace that carries, man. And the presence of someone is everything.
Yeah.
That is something that can't be neglected. Because you left your mark on those kids that then I'd just like to honor you for that, because
Yeah.
I was taken away. I was like
Amen.
sitting like, whoa. I was
I appreciate it, brother.
I was mind
I
blown.
appreciate it, man. It's funny, man, and how can I say this? Whenever I wanted to speak, I remember I went to my good friends and I asked what they thought about it, and their response was, "You haven't done anything great enough to speak about." I remember them saying that. What have you done? You haven't graduated college. You work a regular job. Do something great and then speak. And I remember I heard that, but I had one ear that was open, and so it went in one ear and then it went right out the other one. Because I wasn't going to let friends, my mother, my dad, anybody tell me what I wasn't gifted at. Because God gave it to me. I remember my father, man, and rest in peace, man, it's been going 6 years. And my dad, man, he lost his mother when he was 6. He had a stepmother that really treated him bad, and his dad worked 3 jobs. And so my dad was one that held grudges. And I think it was hard for him to really share love. He loved me, but it wasn't come give me a hug and that a boy. It was that tough love. And I knew my pops, man. As I'm older now, I could appreciate where he was coming from. So one day I'm in my 20s, maybe 25, 26. He says, "You know the problem with your son?" He says, "You're doing all of these different type of jobs." He says, "You know what? You want to be too pretty. You want to wear nice jackets and shirts to work. Why don't you get your hands dirty? Why don't you be a mechanic? Why don't you be a plumber? Why don't you get a contractor and build with your hands, man? Money is money. And I looked at my father and I said, Daddy, who taught you how to do that? He said, my daddy did. I said, Papa, I'm 26. When did you plan on teaching that lesson? He got quiet. Because my parents divorced early and I was old enough as an adult and still respected him, but I could ask questions. I said, my gift is my mouth. My mouth will take me around the world. People will pay me just to speak. And his response was, well, ain't nobody paid you yet. And my response back was, keep living. You'll see.
Yeah.
My dad passed away when I was 35, right around 34 is when I got a contract with a company called Online Trading Academy. And literally every week I was flying somewhere and I was getting paid to speak. I was getting stamps on my passport. And my dad in his way was like, where you going this week? California. Where you going this week? Canada. Where you going this week? And he saw with himself that baby boy made it.
Yeah.
I never said I told you so, because what I had to understand from my father growing up in the era that he did, because he was born in 1950, for an African-American black male to do what I was doing was unheard of.
Yeah.
His mind could not fathom it.
Yeah.
And so although I'm my father's son and we're born on the same day, 31 years apart, because I'm March 16th, 1981, I had to understand that my father could only bring me so far. And that if I wanted to go further, then I needed to get around people that did it. Now check this out. It's not like I could go to the people's house, but I could go to the bookstore. I could read what they wrote. I could get what their heart was in their books and start to apply that to be my truths.
Yeah. That's powerful.
That is, yeah.
You know what? No, I can just really say, Coach Brian never gets old. You can listen to him like forever. And you know, let me say this: the grace on your gift. I think it's that part we truly, some people can see. I think I was on my status once, and I said the grace on your calling carries weight. And whenever you speak or utter, or even if you don't have to speak, you just have to sit in a company and someone will say, but there's something different about Coach Brian, there's something different about Ross, there's something different about Clayton. And it's that grace on your gift. That's it, man. And I think, Coach, you touch on a bit about what you do as a living. But what impact do you want to give to community around the world?
Man, you know, that's a great question. I literally thought about this today, yesterday, the day of. I have one word: exposure. I believe that the proper exposure could eradicate racism. I believe that exposure can take you from a poor mentality to a wealth mentality. All you gotta do is just get in the car and ride with me. I can show you places a couple of kilometers away that would blow your mind, and you got access to them.
Sure.
And so, what's the blessed test, man? It was a message I listened to with Bishop Jakes. And when we hear blessed, some of us believe that blessed doesn't mean that we don't get tried. See, the blessed life means you have a propensity to keep on coming to the top, even though that you get tried.
Yeah.
You know, there's a saying that says that a cat has 9 lives. We don't know that to be true, but a cat keeps on landing on its feet. It keeps on landing.
Yeah.
And so when I talk about being blessed, when you have people groups that were set up to fail, and yet they keep on winning, they keep on standing, they keep on pushing through in circumstances that was never designed for them to win, they're a blessed group of people. They don't feel like it, but they're blessed. because you could switch up a people group and put them in that situation and then see, maintain, can you handle it? And what you start to find out is a lot of people can't handle the heat in the kitchen. They say that they can. But the kitchen get hot, baby. It get hot, boy. That oven get hot, and you start walking around. You can't handle it, boy. You know. It's funny though. When we look at the pandemic, you would think with the size of Africa as a continent that the numbers should be way worse.
Yeah.
Here's why they're not. Because you have groups of people that have been through hell on a regular basis. This is just something else. That's why the fear's not. The skin is thick. We've been through. Watch this pandemic. What we gonna eat tonight? That's a pandemic, folks.
Sure. Come on.
How we gonna pay for this house? How am I gonna get the? Come on, somebody. And so I don't want to deviate from it too far because I could speak, Clayton.
Yes.
But literally, when I talk about exposure, I sound different because I bring a different perspective. Here's humbling if you want to have this. I'm riding with Cindy today, my wife. And I said, man, I've came to Cape Town and I'm humbled. She said, why? I said, as an American, if you're not careful, you might feel that you're bringing something to Africa because, hey, I want to come help. I want to bring support. But I'm driving around and there's a lot of places that look nicer than where I live. And then I'm looking at the technology that's already here. And then I'm looking at roadways that's already here. Literally, I couldn't bring anything physical. I can bring something mental. I can bring something mental. And the reason I'm highlighting that, and I always check missionaries and people that think that they're going to save Africa, because in their mind from television, they believe that people are just not thriving, nothing to eat, nothing to wear. And if I can bring a can of Coke to you and kick a soccer ball and say, God loves you, that I've done something. And they would come here and there would be nothing that they can say, unless until they went into a bush, or maybe they went into a township.
Yeah.
But that's not a majority of the city.
Yeah.
And so again, and I'll finish with this last point, exposure of having somebody that can speak wisdom to you, empower you through words, show you that it's possible, is how I want to make an impact in the world. And that's how I do performance mindset coaching.
Sure.
So that's my answer.
I don't Ross, you have something to say before I say something, because I have something to say.
You go ahead, Clayton. I'm just blown away by the exposure. It's true what you say. Like we spoken about it before, Clayton. Like if we must just move out of the area that we live in and go look for something else, your mindset will automatically be different because you got exposure to something else outside in the world. And a lot of people, sometimes they don't understand that. And that's why, like, if you think of the kids of today, those that walk in the streets that want to be gangsters and those things, I just tell myself, like, if I go to my barber and I stand there and I see all the kids that come to the barber and all they want to do is do drugs and things like that. And I'm like, if only you just step outside of your boundaries where you live in, you'll experience something different. And that means you automatically, your mindset will change. Yeah. But because the sense of them is they want to fit in and not stand out because they are scared of being judged. But that it's just something.
Yeah. It's true, Ross. Like, let me tell me something about my life. Before I met Coach Brian, I always had this type of perspective on life that it is much more than what I see, you know. And when Coach Brian came with his exposure on life, I immediately tapped in to what he was saying, into what he was doing, because here is someone. Remember, Coach Brian, you said now earlier, just a few minutes ago, you said I can bring something different. Now that difference, it can be in any fears of life, you brought that to the table, and it's like, here's it. And for me, I could easily tap in because this is what I was asking God, like, just give me someone who can understand what I'm trying to say. Because now my circle around me, when I say certain things, it's like, nah, Clayton, you can see in the body reaction is like, nah, Clayton, you don't know what you're talking about. It will never happen, you know. But then here, Coach Brian comes in and is like, then I'm like, you can do this, you know, you can um, do this with your life and whatever expectations you want to do. And that for me was like, here's this, it's like almost like a God gift that he just giving. It's like, yeah, you're someone who can take you towards that, you know. So exposure for me, it is one of the one thing that I would carry with my life. I always told myself, I never flew once. That's my dream one day. But I told myself, if I must just fly once, I think I will be hooked. I will like fly every year, try to make it every year, because that exposure to something different, that exposure will carry, will mean something to you in the future.
Yes.
Like I think I had a conversation with Ross now earlier today as well, and I said, you know, like I didn't know about this mixer and stuff like that, and how to do certain things and with the editing itself, but because I apply that, or I try to learn what is going on, I use that skill set in a different room or atmosphere, where maybe go to university. I can apply that skill what I learned through the Connect podcast in some area of my life. So that's real powerful. So, Coach, if I can just add another question here,
Sure.
it is, why is a good mindset good for a person's future?
It's a Bible scripture that says, as a man thinketh, so is he.
Yeah.
How do you think of yourself? It's going to be a reflection of how your life looks. Just think about this, man. And I always tell you, and you mentioned it kind of earlier as you were speaking, maybe 2-3 minutes ago. Matter of fact, I think Ross was saying that some of the kids, they're at the barbershop, they see the gangsters. And so because that's what they see, that's the men that they look up to. Some of them just want to be a part of something that now they want to be a gangster. It's the mindset. But just imagine if the barbershop was guys wearing suits and guys talking about the future and what you could become and how you can get out the flats and how you could possibly be president of South Africa one day. How different would the kids be? Let me tell you about how powerful mindset is. Mindset will either push you forward or take you back.
Yeah.
That's what mindset does. And so there's a lot of people that actually go to work, talk to them all the time, and you ask them, why do they do that? And they said, well, you're just supposed to work. Well, why aren't you working harder? I don't know. I mean, nobody else is working harder.
Yeah.
And so they really look at it as, I'm just serving time. And their highlight is Friday, Saturday. If I can get some good weed, some good drinks, maybe get paid once a month, twice a month, life is Gucci. It's good.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's Gucci to the people they're around. But what happens when you meet somebody and they say, no. We don't go out on the weekends. We change countries.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Sure.
We change country. While you're popping bottles, we're buying buildings. It's a difference. Watch this. Nothing wrong with celebrating everything when your life is a party. I tell that to my son. Hey man, I understand you're 19, 20, you want to have a good time, but you can't have a good time 7 days a week.
Yeah.
So you partying 7 days a week, and then now you're begging for what you need.
Yeah.
Because you spent it on things that you didn't need.
Yeah.
And so that's why for us as men and even as females as well, a high level of accountability, somebody that is older than you, that can give you the game and help you to navigate against potholes in the street. I always tell anybody, you say, well, coach, how you sound like that? I'm talking about my life. I ain't reading a book. There's no script. I'm telling you that how I bumped my head and the decisions and doing things the wrong way and how it cost me. I sound good to you today because I'm 40. I learned this at 35. I took my life experience and I said, you know what? I ain't gonna be a knucklehead no more. I'm gonna learn what I learned. I'm gonna do what I need to do. But it's been hard because even in my people group as an African American, we lack representation of a lot of successful Black business owners. We don't see it.
Yeah.
So literally, I'm the first generation that's doing what I do, and I don't even have a point of reference to look at. How crazy is that?
That's
Sure.
crazy.
But how similar. That's why you listen to me. You need representation. You need somebody, and again, I'm not being racist, but me coming as a white guy that had my life together doesn't appeal to you like somebody that looked like you. It's a
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a difference.
Yeah.
Not taking it away, and that's awesome that they have the heart to help. But I don't know about you. I'm tired of people from the outside coming to help. I want somebody from the inside. I want to
Yeah.
deal with somebody that speak like me and experience what I experience. And I want to see them win. And so if they win, maybe that might give me some hope so that I can win.
Yeah.
I don't want to overtalk, man, because like I said, you're in my vein right now, Clayton. You're Ross in
No,
my
you
vein.
can talk, coach.
I can go in on
You
this.
can talk. You can talk.
Yeah, man.
Yo, I was, mindset. I think mindset, um, mindset in everything that you do, man.
Yeah.
Mindset, you must say, mindset is made up of past experience. It is made out of culture. It is made out of values and norms. It's also made out of principle and concepts. The way how you are brought up, that can be the mindset of the you're gonna bring your own children up. Mindset speaks about um, if my friend is doing this or he experienced some sort of success in life, there can also
Yeah.
be a mindset of where I can also do it.
It's good.
And so mindset, it is a very powerful tool. It's
Yeah.
also the way how you see life in general. Mindset can see opportunity where others cannot see opportunity. Mindset is a difference between someone waking up at 4 o'clock and someone waking up at 7 o'clock or even 10 o'clock. So mindset plays a very important role in someone's life. And I'm gonna attach again to what Ross said also, coach, about um, when youngsters sit around a barber, their mindset is already today I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z, go drink, smoke, whatever. That is a mindset. But here's a challenge. As soon as your mindset change upon yourself and how you see life different, you would sound like to the circle that you used to be in.
Yeah.
You would sound foolish to them. But in someone else, they can see something much greater.
Yes.
And I'm gonna tell you an example about the word of God. When David said he wants to fight Saul. When David said he want to fight Goliath. In Saul's mindset was, you are just a kid. No one ever did this. And
Yeah.
Saul find every excuse for David not to fight Goliath. And even so, Saul wanted to give David armor and a big sword, right?
Yeah.
Because Saul's mindset was not formed as a young kid to beat Goliath. But in David's mindset, it was a totally different thing. David's mindset was, I experience what God has given me. And so the
Yes.
Bible says some people saw a shepherd boy, but God saw a king. And so the mindset is very important for one's life, and just to let's on to that. I don't know if Ross want to say something before I want to carry on this conversation.
No, because like I use the example of the barbershop, right? And the kids when I go to the barbershop, because I had a conversation with someone in the barber, and we were going back and forth. Like that kid is like so used to, or someone, because of their mindset and how they think. Someone is so used to asking you 5 rand that it gets planted in their mindset, sorry, that when they see you, they're going to ask you 5 rand.
Yeah.
And they make sure they have enough money to smoke weed. They only applying that 5 rand into something that is only going to give temporary pleasure.
Come on, man.
But if you take that 5 rand and you flip that 5 rand to make it a 10 rand, and then you seen different success. Once you flipping something, because you're making money, so you changing your mindset. Like, look here, I can double this, but I can do it. I can do it in an honest way. You understand? I don't need to sell drugs.
Right.
Maybe if I can go, I make a 60. I ask people for 5 rand, things like that. I go buy a bag of potatoes. I make 5 rand pockets out of potatoes out of that, and I flip that. It's a mindset change. But now, because they want to fit in, we're rather going to spend it on weed, so that we can just have like I said, a temporary pleasure. And it's like today, it's saddening to see how the people's mindsets are.
Conditioning. It's conditioning. Wow. That's strong.
So coach, just to add on to the question, what is your mindset regarding the 7 mountains, regarding society?
Woo! You went there. So let's let people know what the 7 mountains are.
Yeah.
Think of it as you would see the 12 apostles, but let's just minus 5, so it's 7. And think of these peaks as peaks of influence.
Yeah.
The first one is media. The second one is government. Number 3, education. Number 4, economy. Number 5, family. Number 6, religion. And number 7, entertainment. And so when you look at these mountain peaks separately, literally there is a fight of control. There's a fight of control. You say, well, no, it's not. Well, yes, it is. I don't know what world you're living in. It's somebody's fighting. If I can affect media, meaning I can put images in front of you, I can change your mindset of 1 to 2 generations just by repeating it over and over again. Government, if I don't have anybody that is a Bible believing Christian that believes that we can do whatever we want to, and it's full of people that have that thought in government, they will shift the lay of the land in politics because nobody's representative. Education, I can force and teach your kids anything if nobody stands up and says, this is what we're going to stand up on. Economy, if an economy is ran by people that steal money, that take bribes, checkmate, I can tell you what the economy of a nation looks like because of the mountain that they're controlling. I'm gonna keep on going. Family structure. I can take the idea of a man and a woman and the two come. Watch this. It's very simple, folks. It works. A man with seed, a woman with egg has child. Go back to Genesis, it'll show you. But I can change the thought of a family. Well, now we start having single parents, and now we have different thoughts of family structure to appease people. Religion. Let's just take out the name. Let's just do whatever. I can shake the scope of a land by removing absolute truths. And lastly, the arts. Come on, somebody. If I can control the arts, if I can control cinema, and plays and what we deem to be art, stuff can get overly graphic. It can be pornography. It just keeps on going further and further and further. And so to answer your question, Clayton, my belief is we need to have a kingdom mindset.
Yo.
I did a study, this blew my mind, and I was listening to Dr. Miles Monroe. If you haven't listened to him, please check this brother out. He's the late Dr. Miles Monroe.
Yeah.
He's since passed since 2014. But you will watch these videos and you would think that he's speaking in 2021.
Yeah.
And so he was from the Bahamas, and in the Bahamas was known as a Commonwealth country. And so in essence, it was an extension of Britain, the United Kingdom. You would think that if you went there, you would feel like you're in the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
The people out there, they play cricket, they play soccer, they play, football, just different things that you would do in England. He said, did you know that also that when we were under this Commonwealth, that they had a governor, and the governor's job was to bring the United Kingdom to the Bahamas, so much that it felt like it.
Yeah.
And he said, as he started to study, you just need about 300 people, and 300 people can come from Italy. And you would think that you live in Italy because of how it feels. It controls the climate. They would have Italian arts. They would have Italian foods. You would think that you literally went to Italy. And as I heard that, I remember in the Bible when it talked about Gideon, he first started with a large number. And God said, no, that's too much. That's too much. Have him go to the water. The one that looked like a dog, tell him to go home. And it got down, I believe, to the 300.
Yeah.
And that 300 changed the landscape. It changed it. And so roundabout to answer this particular question, we have to control our mindset. We have to keep on hearing about what mindset we need to be in. Because if not, we'll be of the world, but not in the world. And so we have to start to create what we want to see. Because if not, by default, you will do what everybody else is doing. Last point that I want to make. When I was coming up, my parents could do no wrong. They were my heroes. I thought that the world was like the world that my mom and dad taught me about. And then something happened. I left the house. And I recognize everybody don't make up their bed when they get up. Everybody don't keep a clean house. I've never heard my mom swear, ever. I thought every mom was like that. No, I just went by my friend's mom, and I understand that was a different story.
Yeah.
So what's your mindset if we're not careful, because we can love and honor our people? Sometimes we can limit ourselves because we take what our people have said, and based on their experience, they speak over your life.
Sure.
And now you don't want to outgrow that because you might feel like you're being disrespectful.
Woo.
And so here's what I want to challenge on. And I promise, Clayton, my closing statement. When we look in the Bible of the people that were given a talent, one was given one was given, I want to say 2, and the other one was 5. And the good master goes and he comes back and he says, what'd you do with that talent I gave you? The first one, man, I just knew you was tough. I didn't do nothing. You didn't do nothing? Nothing, man. I know how you are. I didn't do anything with what you gave me. He says, you unprofitable servant. 1 to the 2, what did you do, 2? I made it 4. What did you do, 5? I made it 10. He took from the other and he gave to the one that multiplied.
Yeah.
Sure.
So as a believer, our mindset has to be a mindset of multiplication of what we've been given.
True.
Hey, thank you. I told you made that pause now.
Yeah, power to pause, brother. Power to pause. I was into the question.
You know that when you said multiply, I was thinking about the 3 M's that IGlobalFx stands for, and that is multiply, mindset, and management. You know, and just to add on about management, And like Miles, Dr. Miles Monroe also said that God will only bless you according to how much you can manage.
I have to say something. I have to say something right here. You went there. You made me go there. I want to add on and say that God will only bless you to your appetite.
Yeah.
For instance, my daughter is 10 months. Other day, man, I was cooking some steaks and real big breakfast, but I didn't give her any because she can't eat it. She doesn't have the appetite for that yet. And so her appetite is really just milk. We make some milk, shake it up. Baby girl is good. She's starting to eat some of the soft foods because, watch this, her appetite is changing.
Yeah.
And the appetite is changing because she sees us eating that food. Come on, somebody. I'm going somewhere deep now.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel
Hey,
it. I feel it.
if I was at the table, watch this now, and I'm drinking my milk and she drinking her milk, why would she want hard food?
Yeah.
But when she sees that daddy and mama is using a fork and knife and we chopping down that Gatsby and putting it on that avocado toast, boom, she looking like, now she gets mad when we don't put her at the table. Watch this, because her senses have opened. She smells, she sees, she wants to taste, she wants to feel. Come on, somebody. Come on, somebody. So when I said exposure, which is also going with mindset, do you know that your trading will go up if you change your location?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you know that once you get on a plane one time, you'll get on there multiple times?
Yes.
I don't care if you took a short trip to Joburg and you jumped on a 2-hour flight, you landed, you said, wow, I'm ready to go back home. That just needed to happen one time. I'm sorry to deviate, brother. I'm sorry to deviate.
No. We feel it.
You made me go there.
If you want to go, we can go.
Okay, I'm going to keep on going on this one.
Yeah.
Once you do that, and here's the challenge with mindsets. As human beings, we want to stay in comfort zones. That is how we operate. You understand that?
Yeah.
So for instance, funny story, I was coming up the lift. I'm talking like I'm from South Africa because I never say lift, but I'm saying it while I'm out here. I'm coming up the lift. I was waiting. There was a lady that was waiting before us. She saw that I was getting on and the guy that was in the elevator looked like me and she decided to take the steps. And I said, oh, I thought you were waiting for the elevator. No, I'm good. Fair enough. Let's go. My point is I was supposed to be there. I don't have to walk around and put my head down to appease people. I am comfortable in my own skin. And so when I walk around and I speak as one that owns and not one that is borrowing or is attempting to be an imposter because I don't believe in myself.
Yeah.
People pick up on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
They do. So go ahead, Clayton. I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry, sir.
I was going to say something, Ross.
I'm trying to answer the rest of these questions, but I'm sorry, brother.
Nah, I was just like, there was like you said, the sense, the touch, the smell. It's like you experience, like people is seeing what you're doing, and automatically it's going to rub off. It's like an automatic rub off on someone, because now, if someone is not exposed to that, then that person is not going to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And coach, you also said about your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there was a quote that went out. I'm not sure by who, but it says you must start getting comfortable with being uncomfortable.
It's good, man.
Yeah.
It's good, Ross.
And I was like, that is a very good point, because I'm very much like comfort zone, because sometimes we too scared to step out of our comfort zone to experience something new, or to step into something new, because we don't know what lies there.
Right. It's the unknown.
It's the unknown is what is waiting for us over there. So sometimes we are like, I'm scared to like maybe just step out or just put the foot in, because you don't know who's going to attack you and who's going
Right.
to welcome you in.
Yeah.
Right.
And sometimes we have one person on your one shoulder telling you something, and another person on your other shoulder telling you something. That's where the one is pulling you in, out of your comfort zone, but the other one is still keeping you in. And now sometimes the mindset is not strong enough to tell the person that wants to keep you in, look here, I need to get out.
Yo, come on now,
Yeah.
Ross.
That's good.
I'm like,
Well, write this down too, and this is something that I've said in class, and I say this all the time. When you buy a person's opinion, you buy their lifestyle.
sure.
When you buy a person's opinion, you buy their lifestyle. Never forget this, man. I'm just being truthful with you guys. My dad was divorced, I want to say a total of 2 times. It was he said he wasn't getting married anymore. So 1 divorce, 2 divorce. And so his thing was that if something wasn't working, just cut it off and go restart, do something else. And so I remember, man, I was going through, I had some challenges in my first marriage. I go and speak to my father, and immediately I halfway completed the sentence, leave that such and such, you can do better, do that. And Pops just went ham.
Yeah.
And then I thought, if I listen to my father, then I'm going to get what my father's getting. I love my dad, but in this area, I can't listen to what he's talking about. I need to get around people that have a successful marriage because they're going to tell me to stick in there. They're going to tell me to fight for it. They're going to tell me, hey, it might be hard, but keep on pushing through. And so we have to be very careful who speaks into our lives.
Yeah.
Because although it might be sincere, they can be sincerely wrong. And you're listening to these people and, man, that's my buddy. I've been knowing him 15, 20. That's nice. But your buddy don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Don't tell me about traveling if you ain't never left the hood. We don't have nothing to talk about in that area. Don't tell me about making money if you ain't broke what I've made. And so what I'm simply saying, it's not a sense of arrogance. It's a sense of wisdom to understand that if you want to go somewhere new, you need to talk to the people that have actually walked the walk or have walked in those shoes. And what it allows you to do, it just saves you some time. Does it make sense?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
100%.
It makes sense.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
So, Coach, we don't want to keep you up anymore longer. I know you're
No worries.
busy, man. I have a feeling you're gonna go eat out now and stuff.
I try to
I'm
do
just
my
speaking
part.
it.
It's a beautiful day today, man. Why not, man? It's a fish and chips day, man.
Yeah, yes. In conclusion, what is the one lesson about life that you experience that you want to share to the world out there? So what is that one life lesson or experience that you never knew about it, only if you knew it at a younger stage, in your life? What is that one thing that you want to share to the world?
I'll share a quote that my dad said to me all the time. Son, don't rush for instant gratification. Enjoy delayed gratification. And I would hear it again and again and again and again, because at the time, what was influencing me when I was coming up was fast money. We had dope dealers in the neighborhood. Guess what? They had the nice shoes. They had the nice cars. Guess who liked that? The ladies liked that. So although I would hear this, a part of me wanted to get the faster money because I wanted what I wanted at that time. And my dad was wise enough to say that all money is not good money. Some stuff takes time. And so I know everybody's not living in that type of neighborhood, but if I made it from a global standpoint, your dreams and your hopes do not happen overnight. You got to fight. If you got them too quickly, you wouldn't respect them. If the money came too fast, you'll lose it. And so some of us have to develop that grit of going up and getting knocked down and getting up and getting knocked down and getting up and getting knocked down. And what starts to happen is you start to get scar tissue. Scar tissue is harder than regular tissue. It's been tried, it's been tested. It's no different than gold. Did you know that you cannot burn gold? You can melt out imperfections, but you can't burn gold. And so when gold has been tried and it has been tested in its purest form, it is tough, it has grit, it is ready to go to the next level.
Yeah.
And so what I've learned in life from my journeys, I didn't get here overnight. Before social media, and social media has messed up so many people, because you could see an 11-minute video and actually believe in 11 minutes a person went from 0 to 1 million. No, sir. You can look at a successful doctor that's a surgeon, and in 11 minutes they can show you that I'm doing this, but you weren't with them for 24 years of study. And so my encouragement is the price of success is cheaper than the price of failure. The price of success is cheaper than the price of failure. You say, well, coach, I'm in a rush. I need to get it now. No, hold on a second, youngster, sit down. If you work a regular job today, as most of the world does, you're going to work 40 plus hours a week. How long are you going to do that? For about 40 plus years. You take your age of 20, you add 40, you're in your 60s, then you start to think about retirement. That is normal for majority of people. The end part is if you get a government pension or anything, you get 40% less than what you were making that wasn't enough to begin with.
Sure.
So when I look at 40 and I look at 5 years, when I look at 40 and I look at 2 years, when I look at 40 and I look at a year, that's a short-term commitment for me to learn a skill set, for me to add value to myself, for me to get clarity on what I want, than to never sacrifice and never get to that point.
Yeah.
So that's what I would want to share, Kelly.
Yeah. Yeah. Ross, you want to say something?
That was powerful. I'm lost for words, Clayton, honestly. To be honest. The amount of things that I can take away from this conversation alone, it's mind blowing.
Yeah.
And it's like we need, like, as people in life, we have to up our level.
Yeah.
Not necessarily your lifestyle, but up your mindset.
Yes.
Come on now.
If you're up with that, that means you're automatically growing.
Yeah.
The people might not see it now.
Yeah.
And it's true what you say, Coach Brian, that success does not come overnight.
No.
Never. Yeah.
Fast money, it comes quicker, it leaves quicker. And that is also to do with the gift. Like the drug dealer has the gift of being a businessman,
Yes.
but he's using his gift in the wrong way.
You know what's crazy about
People
what you
that-
said, Ross? And I'm sorry to cut you off, brother.
No, it's cool.
The gifts are without repentance. The drug dealer can be a smart businessman.
Yeah.
He or she just needs to be redirected. Because when you got people working for you and you got an organization, that's a business. But you need somebody to say, come on now, you can do better. And so
Yeah.
what I would suggest, and I'll close off with this because I don't want to overtalk, is
Important.
whenever I first moved to Dallas, I didn't share this story. New Orleans is about 50% black, 50% white. There's areas you can go into that you can go from all black crush all the way to college and never mix at all. That happens in the United States. That's common. So I can literally hang out, eat with, go to school with, work with. Everybody looks like me. You know, the problem with that is the world is not like that.
Yeah.
When I moved to Dallas, we make up about 13%, but it's just nice people. And so I remember when I would want to go out places, I would only want to go to all black places because that's how I came up. And then I had a good friend of mine that said, man, why don't you try something else? Oh, I'm good, man. I don't want people looking at me crazy. Come on, man. Think bigger than that.
Yeah.
So I started going to mixed places. And you know what? I had a good time, man. They talked to me. I talked back. I found out we had so many similarities. And I was making a judgment based on what I heard and not what I saw.
Yeah.
And now I'm to the place now that I only go to nice places because I'm the most comfortable there. I deserve to be there.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we have to do, even in your own city. How do I go to places where maybe I might be the minority, but I'm comfortable, I belong. I can move around in different parts of the world, because you can move around in different parts of the world in your own city, folks. So I just wanted to share that.
Yeah. You know that for those
That just brought something to my mind.
uh, for
But
those who, for those of you who don't know, Coach Brian is never like this. He never talk short. um, um, and I can
I'm
and I
trying to
can
keep the time
sense
frame, man.
and I can sense like you wanna go, but you know he's limited in some way. Um, but yeah, it's so true, man. You know, um, and you know what? It was a hard part. And I think I said it earlier on. I think it's the sacrifice, man. That sacrifice of like living in your comfort zone, going to some place that you never know, or you don't have like a blueprint plan regarding of where will this decision make you get take you to.
no,
And I think that's the hardest part for some people, you know. um that sacrifice, and sometimes it's sacrifice for family, sacrifice for for various reasons. But you know, whoever's watching this conversation,
yeah,
and I think that the podcast itself, it's the connect podcast. It is that we want to try to connect different people's stories, and how you can learn from their success or their failures, you know.
no,
um and yeah, it's that sacrifice, man. That sacrifice it is so key. And I think Coach Brian, you see it now. Sometimes we want to sacrifice our 40 years of our life for a job, but you want to sacrifice 2 years just to learn a skill set which will set you in far, if you just stick to that skill set maybe for 2 to 3 years.
Come on,
That
Clayton.
leverage upon that is so
no.
much greater than the 40 years. And I think
Clayton,
it comes down to mindset as well, coach.
I want to add this as well. I think this is very powerful. The word that I want to say is chameleon.
Sorry.
And when you think of a chameleon
Oh,
can, yeah, it can adapt to the surrounding. It can fit in. Its skin could mirror where it's at. And so one of my favorite Bible figures is Paul. A lot of people skip over this verse. Paul was a Roman. Paul was Jewish. And Paul was a Pharisee. When you look at the New Testament, one of the biggest challenges between the groups of the ones that walk with Jesus and then Paul, who was a new convert, was that the ones who walked with Jesus were Jewish people who lived with Jews, who talked their language of Hebrew, but they didn't go outside of that. But Paul was different. Paul grew up in a port city, almost like Cape Town. It was very metropolis. So that means as he came up as a child, he would hear multiple different languages. It would
yeah,
be common to hear fishermen talk different ways. He didn't get nervous around people that were different because he could adapt based on where he was.
yeah,
Here's another good thing about it, though. But whenever he went back to his hood and he wanted to speak to the Jewish people, oh, I'm Hebrew. I can speak this. I was born in this. I can talk back and forth with you. I was taught under Gamaliel, who was the Pharisee of Pharisees. If we want to talk the Torah of Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, I can speak it all day long. I was taught from the best of the best. But lastly, he was a Roman citizen by birth. And so he understood the laws of the land. He didn't walk around of someone who bought his citizenship. He walked around as someone that was born into it. I'm an American. I don't call myself an American. I act like it. I have a perception and a confidence in America. When I go to the border, when I get back home, I'm going to say, hey, speed this up, man. I pay taxes here. They're going to laugh at me because that American here's my American and he says, welcome back home. You're back. Absolutely, I'm back. I'm paying my taxes. Let me in the country. Let's get this thing speeded up. My point is that we have to learn how to adapt. And when you're adapting, there's a way that you might speak where you're from, but that can't be the same language you speak when you go abroad because they're not going to understand you. So maybe I need to change it up. And so whenever I'm at the job, I just can't say words that I would say in my hood. I have to adapt because that's a different environment. Yeah. Notice my attire right now. I did this because I get one chance for a first impression. Somebody might see this. Somebody might say, hey, man, coach's dress sharp today. I dress for you guys. Yeah. But I can easily put on a nice hat, a hoodie. I'm comfortable. I don't feel bad when I wear that. I adjusted based on what I had to take care of. Yeah. And so one of the keys with mindset is the ability to adapt and understand that you operate differently depending on the circumstance that you're in. So I had to throw that out, Coach. I had to drop some gems and pass the microphone, sir.
Ross, I don't know. You see, wasn't out on IGlobalFx, Ross. Look, I'm doing, man. Yeah, but this, I don't know if Ross want to say something and then we can, want to say something?
Nah, I'm cool. I'd just like to say that I'm very grateful.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. It's been my pleasure,
Share
man.
today with
My
us.
pleasure.
I'm blown away. And I know there's a viewer out there, even if we reach 1-2 viewers, that it will touch them and that it will make their mindset grow. Of this conversation alone that we had, I'd also like to say that this was just amazing. I was actually nervous to do this, to be honest.
Nah, you're
nervous.
I'm always nervous. I'm always nervous. Whenever it comes to, okay, we must do a new episode, I'm nervous. But I'm grateful for your time that you took out for us today. I really appreciate that, Coach Brian. And it's an honor, it's a privilege to have you. Really, thank you very much.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I just want to
pleasure,
let's
brother.
on to that. It's like, indeed.
There you go.
Yeah, thank you, Coach Brian, for taking out the time just to be on the podcast. I know you almost for a year and a half now, you must say.
Yes, sir.
And there's moments in my life where you have touched me, and other people can see that. Even as Ross said early on, when Ross said my mindset shifted. Thank you for being there for the communities. For those who don't know, Coach Brian is always is for the community. He even said that what can he bring to South Africa, and I think one of the posts he posted about he visited a local school, and he gave back to the grade 12s matrics, and just by that, Coach Brian, your heart speaks, and I know what the journey that I know you, I know your heart is big towards the community and Africa as a whole. But may God bless you,
Thank you.
May God bless your family. May God bless your journey that you're gonna take, that you're taking and furthermore. And may this God just use you wherever you may speak, that you gift, the grace of the gift, open up many doors, So yes, thank you, man. Thank you, Coach Brian.
I receive it, brother. Real quick, man, if you guys want to follow us online on IG, I'm IGlobalCoach. So IGlobalCoach. Website is iglobalcoach.com. Also, if you're interested in some type of training, please reach out to Coach Clayton or myself. You can add me on Facebook at Brian J. King. You'll see a picture of me and my bride on there as well. But if anything, reach out. Don't have a question or you want to make a change and you don't take a step. The journey of 1,000 miles, 1,000 kilometers it starts with the first step. So I just encourage you to do that and reach out to these gentlemen as they're putting some great information out. Support them, share this like you would a TikTok video. Because what we need across the board for change is representation. So thank you for your time and thank you for watching.
Thank you guys. God bless.